What's up, everybody? Welcome to North Augusta, South Carolina, and the 24/7 Sports YouTube channel for this Peach Jam Day 4 recap. Doing a little different today. Instead of going back and publishing the story on 24/7 Sports, we are doing the video edition and opening it up to any questions. So here's how it's going to work. First, I'm going to tell you about what I've seen in my 4 days here in North Augusta. Going to talk, obviously, Bronny James. I know there's a lot of interest around him. He's had certainly the biggest crowds all week. Gigi Jackson has been the talk. We will then move into who could replace Gigi Jackson as the top ranked prospect in the class of 2023 once he inevitably moves up to 2022. From there, we're going to talk about the teams that are doing the best here as we head into championship weekend at the Peach Jam. Talk about the teams that have a shot to win this all, and then from there we will go into the Q&A. Ask anything you want, and if you've heard the expression "there's no such thing as a bad question," that's a lie. But I will no doubt tell you exactly what I think. So here's the thing with Bronny. Bronny has, as I said, had the biggest crowds all week long. He had a big game. I believe it was Monday, went for 28 points, wrote about him in my 24/7 Sports recap that day because it was the most aggressive I had seen him. Not only was he looking for a shot, but I think he was getting downhill in transition more than I've seen him before. And that's, one of the best parts of his game that we don't talk about quite enough, or maybe that is becoming a more consistent staple of his game. His pace and power in the open floor, combined with his layup making ability around the rim because he's got terrific touch and body control, those are all top notch. And he did that very, very well on Monday. He did it again yesterday, had a big dunk, which I'm sure everybody has seen on social media. Has not been quite as loud with his performances here. Let me check his stats. Yesterday went for 16, 5, and 5. Of course, he had 28, 6, and 6 earlier in the week. So he's been consistent offensively, but not yet exploding every game. Been very solid, but just so far the one really explosive game with 28 points. But I will say this: I think he's trending in the right direction. I think you're going to see his ranking rise, and he's earned it. He's earned it based on the caliber of his play. The thing that we've waited to see is if he's going to grow anymore. I don't know that that's the case, right? He looks about 6'2" to me. Obviously, that's about 6 inches shorter than his dad. If he were to catch a late growth spurt, it would certainly push his status as a prospect to another level. Now, one question I've been getting this week, both in the gym and over the kind of the Twitter fear, whatever the word is. Who's recruiting Bronny James? Well, I don't know that anybody's really recruiting Bronny James. I think the perception is that Bronny James is not going to play college basketball. That is not fact by any stretch. But as you sit in the college coaches section and you just kind of hear what coaches are saying about this, I haven't heard anyone who said, yeah, we're making a hard push for Bronny. We really, and it has nothing to do with the type of player he is. I think everybody is in agreement that he is a good player who could impact winning pretty much from day one at the college level. I just think the perception, although we haven't heard anything definitive at all out of Bronny's camp, the perception is that he is not likely to play college basketball. So we will see if that changes in the coming weeks and months. But right now, I have not spoken to any college coaches that think they have a good chance of landing him, or even think that it's especially worthwhile endeavor in terms of recruiting him. So that's the latest on Bronny James. The other major topic here at the Peach Jam has been, once Gigi Jackson officially reclassifies and joins 2022, who becomes number one? And that's been it's interesting because that's certainly something that we are focused on. I've been here all week. Eric Bossi and Travis Branham were here with me first few days. Deshaun London is down here for the remainder of the week. So that's not only something that we're focused on, but obviously it's something that fans are focused on too. I mean, the amount of people who've just come up to me and kind of want to chat about that is it's been pretty significant. And even college coaches are kind of, and NBA scouts, everybody's kind of saying, who's the best? Who's the best? I mean, I know there's, the rankings don't necessarily matter long term, but people are always comparing and contrasting. And that's been a popular subject of conversation. So I think the guy who was perceived as the top candidate, DJ Wagner, he's been, quite honestly, a little up and down. He didn't have a great experience with USA basketball in the when they went to Spain. I mean, he won a gold medal, but he was not necessarily the same volume scorer that we've seen throughout the course of the years here. He is, in my mind, the player who has the most decorated high school resume to date. He's the most accomplished player. But as we look at his stats, he's played 4 games. Got 20 points in one, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 14 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 16 points, 5 and 5, and then 11, 2 and 5 last night. So we haven't seen the offensive explosion that we are accustomed to seeing from him. And quite honestly, it has not been for lack of effort. He is being as aggressive as ever. He is attacking almost on every single catch. And it just, the efficiency just hasn't been there. I think a factor right now is how well he's shooting the ball from the 3-point line. That's got to continue to go to the next level, because you're talking about a guy who does not have the instincts of a pure point guard, who is not an elite athlete, does not have elite size. So he has got to be a high level shooter when you start to project his game to the higher levels. Right now, he's a volume shooter and a little bit of a streaky shooter. So that's got to continue to evolve. So that's the case for DJ Wagner. Xavier Booker is not here at the Peach Jam, but certainly he's someone in terms of his long-term ceiling and his upside who's going to be a candidate. The other guy who I thought was a candidate coming into the month was Justin Edwards. Justin Edwards, who was going to make his commitment live on Monday from CBS Sports HQ, 6'7" wing, master of the mid-range, loves to score from that 12 to 18-foot area. He's another guy who, as good as he is, I'm just not sure that he has totally seized it yet. Look at his stats line. He's had, he's had 21, 17, 19. The thing he's done really well this week is he's rebounded the ball. He's averaging about 9 rebounds per game for team final. I've been impressed with that part of his game. He's got to get stronger. He's got to get some easy points. He's very mid-range heavy right now. I'd like to see a little bit of a progression in terms of his defensive mobility on the perimeter. Been very impressed with his ability to defend inside, but I will freely say that coming into the month, I thought those 4 players were the ones who were in contention for the top spot. But at this point, it looks like it is going to be a much bigger list. So who else is kind of crashing that party? Well, Isaiah Collier, he's out with a torn meniscus, but probably the best point guard in the country. He's here supporting his team, the Skill Factory, but not in action. The guy who's making an impression, quite frankly, is Duke commit and Team Thad point guard Caleb Foster. He's been sensational. A 6'5" big guard, going to be capable of playing and defending multiple positions at the next level, but really sees the game at a high level. He's got a good feel for the game, which is a concept that is sometimes hard to articulate to fans. I'll be explaining it to my parents and I'll say like, yeah, he's got a good feel for the game. And they're like, what does that mean? Well, it basically means he's just got good instincts. He knows he has whether it's spatial recognition, but he knows how to space the floor. He knows where the ball is supposed to go. He sees things and he processes the game at an instinctual level. And that is something, although it's difficult to articulate, it's really, really important long-term to projecting where somebody is gonna go at the next level. The other thing he's done in my mind, he's scoring the ball more consistently and making strides as a shooter. I have been less confident in his shooting over the years than others. I've been a little more skeptical, but his technique looks good to me. Here today, he's had this week, he's gone for 33, 7 and 3. He had one game with 16, 7 and 4. Then he went 25, 8 and 8. And then he went 19 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. So he is stuffing all columns of the stat sheet and doing it in pretty impressive fashion. Another player who's kind of making his case is Matas Buzelis, who's already committed to G League Ignite. He's playing with Expressions Elite, and it's 6'9", 6'10". I mean, this guy is just like he's a monster playmaker off the dribble because he's got such size. Now, the things that are going to be interesting is although his size is going to translate to the next level, the style of play, we have to see if that does, because first of all, he's got to figure out what position he plays defensively and then just, play with as much energy on that end of the floor. His jumper is a inconsistent at this point. He's got to get kind of condenses release. He's got kind of this release that goes down and up, but he's been able to get it off this week. But the defensive end is first and foremost the biggest area, and then just learning to impact the game without the ball. But in terms of his combination of size and playmaking, he's been very, very impressive. So those are some of the players that, from an individual standpoint, are in the mix in terms of being some of the very best in the class of 2023. Now let's talk about the teams. So the way this works is, although yesterday was day 1 for college coaches, it was actually day 4 of action, day 2 for NBA scouts. So to circle back, game started on Sunday. It's when I got here, along with Eric Bossi and Travis Branham. They continued Monday. Tuesday was day 3, first day that NBA scouts were allowed in the building. Wednesday, yesterday, day 4, first day that college coaches were allowed in the building. So although this is coming up today, Thursday is just going to be the second day for college coaches, is the 5th day of action, which means we are winding down. Some teams are looking to move on out of pool play, and some teams are already mathematically eliminated. And the reason why that's relevant is because when you're eliminated and when you know you're not playing for a chance to move on this weekend, it does it tends to impact how competitive the games are and the quality of evaluation setting. So we've got four pools. Let's break it down right now. In pool AA, Mocan Elite is 4-0. And I think they've got to be a favorite because they are as well coached and organized as anybody I've seen this week. So Team Durant is the next best in that pool. They're 3-1. That's the team with KJ Evans, Monty Hansberry, and others. But Mocan Elite to me is in pretty good shape to move on. In pool double B, interesting thing, you've got 2 teams at 4-0. The City Rocks, who we've talked about, had a couple dramatic wins here. Gus Yalden was sensational the other night with 35 points and 18 rebounds and a comeback win. Simeon Wilcher has been fantastic at various times this week. The North Carolina pledge in the guard, the backcourt. So they've got a lot of different weapons. And again, extremely well coached, extremely organized, which is a requisite this week. Team Takeover is 4-0. And to put this in perspective, Team Takeover started Sunday in the play-in game. They had to come back and play again after they win the play-in game to get into the regular field. They had to come back and play about 3 hours later, and they have yet to lose a game this week. So they won the play-in game. They've won 4 more since. The other thing that's impressive, they've got 4 underclassmen on their roster. And then their 16 and under team, they are loaded as well. So I'm going to go on record and say right now, the odds-on favorite to win the 2023 Nike Peach Jam is Team Takeover. But right now, they are exceeding expectations in 22 and have a chance to move on at the end of the week as well. So that's City Rocks and Team Takeover, both undefeated in pool double B. Now in pool double C, we're halfway through. Team Final, Justin Edwards, who we already talked about, they're at 3-1. And after that, you've got a lot of teams. 4 of them, in fact, are at 2-2. Indy Heat, Oakland Soldiers, CP3, which has Gigi Jackson, Robert Dillingham, Aiden Holloway, and New Heights Lightning. Now, the reason why that is significant is because only 2 teams will move on to bracket play. So Team Final looks to be in pretty good shape right at the moment, but Indy Heat, Oakland Soldiers, CP3, and New Heights Lightning are battling for that final spot. CP3 is as talented a team as there is in this field, and so you wonder if they can put the pieces together and move on, because you've got Gigi Jackson, you've got Robert Dillingham, you've got Aiden Holloway, and you've got 3 or 4 other potential high major guys on that roster as well. So on talent alone, they should be able to play their way into bracket play as well. The final pool in the Peach Jam section has 3 teams at 3-1 right now. That's Brad Beal Elite, New Jersey Scholars, and Houston Hoops. New Jersey Scholars is DJ Wagner, but it's also Mackenzie Magbako, the Duke commit, and Aaron Bradshaw, who's arguably the best big man in the field. So again, on talent alone, they are a team that should be able to get there. But on point differential, Brad Beal is actually ahead right now. So they're 3-1. But again, that's going to be a pool to watch here in the coming days, because only 2 of those 3 teams are going to move on, and Expressions Elite not far behind at 2-2. So again, something to watch here as we break down the pools. And so today is Thursday. You've got the final full day of pool play. So it means tonight's games will decide who moves on. The quarterfinals will be tomorrow night, Friday night. The semifinals are Saturday, and the finals are on Sunday. I should tell you, all these games are available on stream for free. You can watch them at home. And with that, I'm going to open this up to questions. So again, hit me with whatever you've got. And if I don't know the answer, if I didn't see, I will be totally honest. And just keep it moving, because keep in mind, there are 5 courts here, and can only watch one at a time. All right, question from Joel. Is Amani Hansberry better than Kwame Evans? How much of a ranking bump will Hansberry get? All right, so Amani Hansberry and Kwame Evans are both on Team Durant. Here's the thing. Amani Hansberry is more productive right now. KJ Evans is potentially a better long-term prospect. Amani Hansberry is kind of like a 6'7" versatile big. He's got phenomenal hands. He's a walking double-double. He's another guy who can really think the game, just a high IQ player. But KJ Evans at 6'9", a fluid athlete, he's got the body type that is going to jump out to NBA scouts. And this is the part that I think fans have a hard time recognizing. They say, wait a minute, Hansberry's got 20 and 10 and KJ's got, 12 and 7. And I'm making those numbers up, but it's safe to say that Hansberry is averaging, more points, more rebounds than KJ Evans. But, you've got to have the physical markers to project to the next level. So if we're talking about who's going to be a more impactful college freshman, it may be Hansberry. Are we talking about who's going to be the more intriguing long-term NBA prospect? Right now, it's Evans, because there just aren't many guys who are 6'9" lefties who are as ultra naturally fluid as he has, and who have that type of consequent defensive versatility and potential at the next level in terms of being able to cover the court, defend multiple positions, and do it at the highest level. So that's an excellent question, because it really illustrates. One of the things that be complicated about this is seeing the difference between the here and now and being able to project it out to the next level. So that was a great question. Thank you very much. What else we got here? All right. From Rocket County and Buckeye Nation. Do you think Brownie should play college basketball? I think it would help his already high profile financially to play at a big school and help his game. Plus, college is fun in my experience. I agree. College was fun in my experience as well. I think Brownie financially is probably doing all right. Here's the thing. I mean, we saw this with Dwayne Wade's son just a few years ago. He opted to do the thing about Brownie is the rules currently stand. He can't go straight to the NBA after high school, and forget about whether or not he's ready to make an impact at the NBA. The way I look at this is like LeBron James isn't just a generational talent. He's the most influential person in the basketball world. And if he says his son is going to play in the NBA as soon as he's eligible, I believe that he's going to play in the NBA as soon as he's eligible, because whoever LeBron plays for is most likely going to sign his son. So, but the process between here and then is that what does he do for that gap year? Because as the rules currently stand, he can't go straight from high school to the NBA. So he's got to do either G League Ignite, Overtime Elite. He could go play in college for a year. He could, basically do what, he could play internationally. He could do whatever he wants. We don't know. It's all speculation. Do I think he could benefit from playing in college? Sure. But I have never gotten the impression that is the final goal for him. The other thing I do firmly believe is that he could impact winning at the college level, because he's a guy who knows how to play, who understands how to move the ball, who can defend. He's got a college-ready body. He can make open shots. He doesn't need to be the man. So I think if they came out tomorrow and said, hey, Bronny's going to go play college basketball for a year, I think he would be widely recruited. But we just have not yet gotten that indication from his camp. And I think some of the financial considerations relative to NIL and things like that just probably aren't the same with the James family. I will also say, as the Buckeye Nation there, I will say as a side that it was really cool yesterday after Bronny's game. LeBron, who's here, along with a lot of other NBA players, made it a point to come in and watch all Ohio Red, obviously in his home state. So, and it was, he came in with about, I think it was in the fourth quarter, and he came in and kind of sprinted the sideline to get into the corner which is where he needed to sit for security reasons. But it was just cool for those kids to Ohio to see LeBron James coming in and watching their game. That was a pretty cool moment. So, all right, we will take any other questions here. There's another one. What college coaches showed up at the Peach Jam? Any NBA players show up? What is the significance of the Peach Jam? All right. College coaches, I would say there's 200 to 300 here on day one. Also keep in mind, you have the Adidas event going on right now in California. You have the Under Armour event going on right now in Chicago. This is the final week of the recruiting period, and lots of coaches are bouncing in between events. So total throughout the course of the 4 days, I would definitely expect probably upwards of 400 coaches to have checked in. I did not see John Calipari here yesterday. Supposedly he was back at Kentucky hosting Ugonna Kingsley for an official visit. I did not see John Shire yesterday. Did see Kenny Payne, the new Louisville head coach. He was watching DJ Wagner. And there's a variety of head coaches here. But John Shire and John Calipari, I did not personally see yesterday. In terms of NBA players, LeBron has been here. He's got two sons who are playing. Bronny is on Strive for Greatness 17s. His younger son is on Strive for Greatness 16s. Carmelo Anthony has been here all week. He's got sons who are playing. Of course, he has his own EYBL program and Team Mello. Blake Griffin has been here throughout the course of the week. Again, he has his own program, Team Griffin from Oklahoma. Chris Paul, I believe, arrived yesterday. And he has his own program, Team CP3. Russell Westbrook has been here all week. He has his own program, Team Why Not, from California. And let me see, I believe I saw Cade Cunningham yesterday. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I saw him. So the fact that all these guys come back, first of all, it speaks to the significance of the Peach Jam and also the history of the event. I get a lot of people who say, like, why is this in North Augusta, South Carolina? Why isn't it in New York or Los Angeles or some metropolis? But it's just the history of this event and the way the local community gets by it. And these guys have all played in this event. So for them to come back just shows how, significant it really is. And it's a totally unique experience. I was talking to a college coach who had never been here yesterday. You can always tell the rookie college coaches because they're in a short sleeve polo shirt and shorts, and it is freezing in this gym. I mean, it is freezing. It is hot and humid outside, but the air conditioning makes it colder than any other gym I have ever seen. So you can always tell the rookies because they're in shorts and a t-shirt or a short sleeve shirt. But that is the significance of the Peach Jam. Not only does it crown the EYBL champion every year, but it's just the history of this event. What else we got for questions here? Any unranked players that are making a name for themselves? Yes, good question. As a matter of fact, I'm going to look down at my notes here, but yeah, there have certainly been unranked players, and more than that, there have been guys whose ranking is going to change. I think that for an unranked player, I'm going to give you one right here from the Houston Hoops. I have been really impressed with Jowland, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Low, but a super smooth lefty point guard. He's got to get stronger, but he's been averaging right about 18, 19 points per game. He's really, really skilled. And then as his body and his frame fills out and he kind of goes to that next level physically, I think he's going to be somebody that we look back on and say, geez, he was better than we thought. There was for JL3, which is John Lucas's team based out of Texas. I have really liked Malik Presley. He is a big, kind of long and athletic lefty wing who knows how to play. He plays really, really hard. He passes the ball well, and his skill set's got to keep coming, but I think there's some potential in that area. And once it does, I think he is a guy that is going to continue to rise. So those have been two players who have really stood out to me in terms of unranked players who have made an impression here for sure. Was a LSU coach at any games yet? Yes, I did see Coach McMahon here yesterday. I can't recall off the top of my head which games he was at, but I do know he was here. And what I would tell you to do is, if you really want to know what games he was at, quick Twitter search will show you really, really quickly. But I can confirm that he was, in fact, here in Augusta yesterday. How's RJ Jones looking? RJ Jones is looking really, really good. In fact, he's on that same JL3 team. Zayden High, pardon me, is on that same team as well with Malik Presley, who I just mentioned. RJ Jones is shooting the ball at a very, very high level. Big power guard, strong body. I've been very impressed with him. I was particularly impressed with him yesterday against All Ohio Red. That was the same game that LeBron James kind of, ran into and made that grand entrance sprinting down the sideline. But RJ was very good. College ready body, college ready shooter. Can show you some glimpses off the dribble, although he tends to play a little upright off the bounce, but really like what he's about. Seems like a high character kid, going to be able to play an offensive structure, which means like he's going to understand how to come in and understand college level concepts. And he doesn't want to just pound the air out of the ball and play isolation basketball. He knows how to play. So he has looked good. He's been impressive. Some of his numbers have been a little up and down. He had 11 points on 2 different occasions. But he had 22 yesterday against All Ohio, which has been his best game of the week. He had 18 one other game as well. What's up with the Brownie offers right now? Well, as I alluded to, I think that the fact that people just don't really think he's going to play college basketball. So it's basically a matter of, is it worth recruiting somebody that we don't think is going to college? And the other factor here is I don't think Bronny's a kid that's going to tweet out offers. I don't even know that Bronny's on Twitter, quite honestly. But most kids, when they get an offer, they post it on social media. I don't get the impression that Bronny would necessarily do that. So we don't know that he hasn't gotten any offers because he's not going to post them with the same way. So I just listen. And also, Bronny has not done one interview that I'm aware of yet. And I'm not sure he's done one in high school. I don't know that for a fact, but I can't recall one, I should say that. So we don't know who's reached out and expressed interest. They have not talked on the record about their plans. So we don't know whether he's gotten offers or not. All that we know is that if he has not yet published them, not published, but has not yet made them publicized them. But and that adds into the perception that he is unlikely to ever play college basketball. Is Bronny still 6'3"? He's not bigger than that. I've got him somewhere he's in that 6'2", 6'3" range. I don't think there are any official measurements. Usually you get official measurements in high school if someone has gone to USA Basketball or someone has gone to one of the sneaker camps. Bronny has not attended a USA Basketball event. I'm pretty sure that's true. And the Nike camps where they would historically measure these kids have not taken place since COVID. So both the All-American camp, Elite 100, none of those has happened. So he is not bigger than that. I kind of eyeball him at somewhere between 6'2" and 6'3". Any Auburn coaches there? I did not see Coach Pearl yesterday. My sense is that he might be at Under Armour, but I would suspect we will see him following Aiden Holloway this week. And as I said, just because I didn't see him does not mean he's not here. I didn't see Chris Paul yesterday either, but I know he's here. All right, we've got time for one more question, so let's finish off with a good one. Do you think Aaron Bradshaw will become top 5? Brody, that's a good question because Aaron Bradshaw has been taking his game to the next level. Here's the thing with Aaron Bradshaw, a couple things. It's never been about the talent. It's always been about the consistency of the motor. Aaron Bradshaw, of course, plays on the same New Jersey Scholars program as DJ Wagner and Mackenzie Magbako. He has had, I'm just looking at his stats here. So here have been his numbers. He's had 14-7, 11-10, 14-6, 13-7. So now part of that is opportunity because DJ is the focal point of that team. The thing with Aaron is he's got all the tools. He's a 7-footer. He's light on his feet. He runs really well. He's got good bounce around the rim. He's got good hands. He catches inside. He's got touch that extends out to the 3-point line. So you're talking about somebody who can be potentially both a bouncy finisher and a someone who can stretch the floor. He's got mobility that should allow him to defend pick and roll and be able to block shots. It's just about the consistency of the motor and the overall production. So do I co-sign top 5? It'll be a conversation. He's in the mix for that. But I can't give you that definitively just yet. But I'll tell you what, they're 3-1. We've still got 4 days here, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that he plays his way into it. So we will see what happens. But that's a good question, and thank you for bringing it up, because he's somebody that I should have mentioned earlier in terms of players who are making a case at the very top of the class, because he is certainly making an impression. Guys, we've been doing this for 30 minutes. I really appreciate it. I hope that this was fun for you. I think we were able to cover a wide variety of topics that I probably wouldn't have been able to in written form. So I appreciate everybody jumping on with this. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I got to go, because I got to go back to the gym.